All right. Hopefully people can hear me. Um, I have I have changed a lot in my home streaming setup, so I'm hoping that this thing still works the way it's supposed to. So today I wanted to discuss this guide that I had asked if somebody would be so kind as to read. And I remember in an old video I had also challenged Apple to release this information on how it is they deal with customers. And, there's a lot of criticism on how Apple deals with customers. There was a CBC News piece, again, a CBC. Let's find this thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of criticism as to how Apple deals with customers, and you can find it in this video. Genius Bar caught ripping off customer off on camera. There's a lot of ways that they kind of manipulate around when they have released a device that is very clearly defective to the point where they have actually changed the design of it. So you can see that with so this thing over here where they're like, yeah, there's no problem with it. I know we changed the design. We just changed the cable length because cool, bro. We just changed it. So, and I challenged Apple to release some of this information on how it is they deal with customers. I mean, if you're dealing with your customers in a way that is somewhat fair, then surely the information on how you deal with them is not something that really has to be hidden. Can I get some context? The stream just came up for me. That's because I started it 1 minute ago. Pay effing attention, man. Anyway, so I've challenged Apple to release this information. It says how to be a genius. This is Apple's secret employee training manual. Clinton, get off of my microphone. Bad kitty. And they have not. And I've also asked people if they would be willing to read this if they had access to the guide, and it never came out. Now, the way I see it is if you're treating your customers fairly, you should have, even if it's an internal guide on how to deal with mincy situations and stuff like that, that you should still be open to releasing some of the information. So I thought I would actually go over my manual that I started writing all the way back in 2011. Clinton, I will kill you if you do that to my microphone again. Anyway, so I am going to... So I would like to read my employee guide to all of you. So tonight I'm going to start by reading my own employee guide. Now this is not just a normal manual of here you go to the punch clock, here's where you sit, here's how to check voicemail. I mean all the tips and tricks on how to deal with miserable customers and scary situations. So there's a lot of how a company deals with certain situations that they just may not want to make public, and I understand. So, for example, I'm probably throwing somebody under a bus here, and I apologize in advance. I really do, but it helps give people context. So, one company actually decided that when FedEx fucked up, they would send me a new device for free. So, I bought an expensive e-bike battery from EM3EV, and it was signed for. FedEx said it was delivered, but this is right during the time that my building kept going on fire. So even though it was signed saying it was delivered, I never actually showed up at my store. Their customer service, after verifying a few things with me, was to send me a new battery. Send Lewis a new battery, pay the shipping on it, and pay for this new $1,000 battery for free, just because. Obviously, you don't want to publish that policy on a website, and I understand why you may not want to publish certain policies as to how customer service works, because if you release those policies, if people know how your service works, they'll know how to take advantage of you, kind of thing. And I know that in the open source community, this is very frowned upon. When people say, well, I can't release my source code or else I'll get hacked, they'll say, well, no, the most secure software is the software with the release source code. I think it's a little bit different when you're dealing with customers and when you're dealing with retail, because if a company knows your policies and how you deal with sticky situations, it's real easy to start taking advantage of that. And again, I love EM3EV. They're a great business. They sent me a new battery when FedEx said that the battery that they delivered to me was signed for. Now, we eventually found where that was in the building. It was the delivery people were not doing the greatest job after the building went on fire. And then I sent them PayPal for the entire amount of the battery because, fair is fair. But if somebody knows that you're willing to do this under these circumstances, then it's easier for the scammers and the scumbags of the world to start taking advantage. So I thought that I would read to you the guide that I started writing in 2011. I never finished it because there was always other stuff to do, and it's 2019. I said I was going to finish this in about a week or two, and that was in December of 2011 when it was, I was really starting to ramp up the supply business. But my point is, I said I was going to finish this guide. I was writing it during my Christmas break in 2011 when I actually took off. It's been almost 8 years now. I think I should finish it. Now, I've added a couple of things here and there, but I haven't really finished it. It's just like me copying and pasting something in and then saying, Lewis, sort it out later. So I'm going to read you my guide. This guide is probably going to piss a lot of people off. It's probably going to seem very disgusting, crass, and unfair. But I would also challenge you, how many other companies that work in this business actually publicize their entire standardized protocol for how to deal with sticky situations? Probably none. So I'm hoping some of the honesty will be appreciated. And I also want to showcase to Apple that if the way you're treating people is fair in the eyes of most, then you don't really have much to worry about. And I already do show you all how I do all the board repairs. I show you how to do every single little aspect of my business, and I might as well show you the rest. So that being said, let's get to the Louis Rossmann Employee Guide. The first part of the guide here, also I'll get a better chat app because Restream is trash and keeps, it doesn't crash, it just stops grabbing new messages. It really pisses me off. I got to find an alternative to Restream because this sucks. I can't see any message posted past 12:27. So we'll see if new stuff starts popping up in a moment. I'm actually going to have to open a new window with Twitch. I'm going to have to open my own Twitch window. Boo. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, I've got to open Twitch, Restream, and Vimeo, and then pop out the chat manually. I really wish that somebody would there was a good app that combined all the chats that wasn't a piece of meh. And I'm allowed to complain about the Restream one because I actually pay Restream. I don't use the free services. I pay so that I can be salty. I would rather pay and have the right to be salty than not pay and not have the right to be salty. I reserve the right to be salty. Okay, I'm enabling chat on Vimeo since I know that Vimeo is one of the never has the chat working unless I hit enable. Open Twitch. Okay, live here. I have the Twitch popped out. I enabled the Vimeo chat, and now I have to pop out the YouTube chat. Just give me 1 second here, and I will get to reading my guide. I know, worst streamer ever. When I did that video on the Startups podcast with Destiny and Dan the other day, they actually had their shit together with streaming. It really made me realize just how much I don't have my shit together watching Destiny and Dan and how they deal with streaming. And I can't get Windows Mail to stop posting notifications and other hoarding. Stop. Where the fuck? Yeah. Boo. Oh well. I'll figure out how to make that shit fix later. So, the first part of my guide explains what something called the GTFO is. GTFO is an acronym for get the fuck out. A GTFO is when you need someone to go away, without them feeling like you don't care about them or their problem. There are two primary forms of GTFO. The first is when it is something we don't fix. The second is when we are blamed for something that we did not do wrong. So, what Steve will often say is, sell this person a GTFO. Sell means get them to be okay with it, and GTFO means get the fuck out. Selling a GTFO means you have to make somebody feel happy and okay with the fact that we're telling them to get the fuck out. Now, we don't fix that GTFO. Now, you may wonder, why do you have to sell a GTFO just because we don't fix something? Well, you'll see. So when someone brings us something that we cannot fix or do not fix, when you tell someone we don't repair something, you might think you are giving them a simple answer to a simple question. Like, something simple like, hey, do you repair hinges on HPs? No, I'm sorry, we don't repair hinges on HPs. If you're a normal customer or you're somebody who has not run a customer-facing business, particularly in an area with lots of Yelper elites where people are they actually identify as a Yelp leader. They identify as someone that writes 6 to 12-page reviews of everything they do. You may not understand why that is not a basic, simple interaction. Do you fix copy machines? No, unfortunately, I'm sorry, we don't fix copy machines. You may think that's the end of it. It's actually not. Many customers take this as rejection as the basis level. No, at the basis level. I couldn't fucking type. Let's fix that. So they take this as rejection at the basis level. And they will take it out on you in the worst possible way. So let me just get my chat window here so it's still, the monitor's still not in front of me, but yeah. I want to open broadcast to be where I can see it easily. There we go. One moment. I really do have to get this stuff set up better pre-stream for my home streams. Yeah, so when you tell someone we don't repair something, you might think you're giving them a simple answer to a simple question. Many customers take this as rejection at the basis level. You may think we are simply telling them we don't fix an HP because we're a Mac repair place. But what they're actually reliving is the rejection that Lewis faced when he asked out Tiffany to the 8th grade prom. It hurts, and it makes you want to leave a 1-star Yelp review. There are several things you can do to mediate this rejection. Mediate's probably not the right word there. I'll have to change that. Listen to their issue, even if you're unable to fix it. Let them describe their issue. If they are boring you as they describe it because you know exactly what they're describing, then politely interject, Richard Stallman style, telling you the difference between new and Linux, and explain their issue to them to let them know that you understand it. Make sure if you are doing this that you actually know their issue, because if you interrupt them with something unrelated, rather than politely interject with their issue, they will tear you to pieces. Number 2. Explain how and why it is we're unable to fix it, rather than simply saying no. If you do not know the why, ask one of us and we'll tell you. I will update the customer service matrix to explain a why with each GTFO shortly, but for the time being, ask Paul, Steve, or Lewis. And that has been, I remember back in the day, it used to say ask Milan, or even before that, it said ask Jake. This keeps changing, but Lewis never updates the customer service matrix. Ask Amazon about USPS lying about delivered items. I don't have the ability to ask Amazon anything. Jeff Bezos is worth $70 billion. He is not interested in an interview with me. Explain how and why. Timing is everything. This is important. Timing is everything. It is very important to start this process by explaining why something is not a service we offer, or by giving them an alternative place to go, rather than opening with, we don't work on that. Do not tell them we cannot work on it, then tell them the why. Tell them who else may do the job and why it's difficult for us to do, then tell them we don't work on it. So, I'll add an example. For example, unfortunately, GPUs to the 2006 A1150 MacBook Pro have not been available from any of our vendors since 2008. As a result, we cannot find parts to fix this machine, so we cannot fix the issue you are having. Fortunately, we cannot work on your laptop. This is the proper way to sell the GTFO. No, we do not work on that laptop. We can't fix it. Customer rage intensifies. Lizard brain activates. I explained what the lizard brain is in the next paragraph, so I should probably make a note about the lizard brain before this. Or, no, that we don't work on. We cannot get GPUs to it anymore. Telling them we cannot work on it turns on the lizard part of the brain. The defensive side of that feels rejected. I have to say this is the improper way to sell the GTFO. Telling them we cannot work on it turns on the lizard part of the brain. The defensive side that feels rejected. The customer will no longer listen to anything you have to say. Not they. The customer. The customer will no longer listen to anything you have to say once you activate the lizard side of the brain. So you give them the logic and reason as to why we don't work on it before saying we do not work on it. Never activate the emotional side before the logical side if the emotional side works against you. Telling them we cannot work on it. Number 1, refer them to somewhere else. The 1-star review and the complaining is like a hot potato or a pulled grenade pin. The 1-star review and complaining is like a hot potato or a pulled grenade pin. It blows up in the hands of the last person holding it. If it is a computer we don't work on them, send it to D&Q. If it's a phone we don't work on, send them to JM Wireless. If it's a computer we do work on but with an issue we simply cannot resolve and they refuse to accept it as unresolvable, send them to Simple Mac. Send them any place else, so long as the grenade pin does not come out and blow up in our store. Unfortunately, if it is in the 1% like the individual reviews posted below, the grenade has to blow up somewhere. There is no avoiding the blowing up of the grenade. You simply must duck and cover, protect your own, and ensure it blows up somewhere else. Now I have 2 examples of reviews here where people were like, they didn't fix something that I wanted fixed. I said, above you will see 2 examples, assuming these are real reviews and not bullcrap, of when a proper GTFO is not sold. Now, don't get me wrong. I know who was working at the store at the time that these reviews were left. They were not mean people. They spent time explaining things. They simply did not follow the proper protocol when selling their GTFO. This only matters for the 1% of the population miserable enough that they need to be coddled when told no, because they are emotionally and mentally incapable of hearing the word no. But that is 1%. But that 1% is all who needs to leave bad reviews for us to be in the gutter. Make no mistake that the individuals who wrote these reviews were absolute cockrags with miserable lives. I can only imagine they came home from work early to find their wife fucking the pool boy, only to find out they have to pay the mortgage on a house that she now owns, then immediately went to our store. You have to be a really miserable sack of garbage to leave this review. I am not blaming you, the employee, for this. Let me just make that bold because this sounds accusatory. I'm not blaming you, the employee, for this bad review or for that customer's misery. I am simply trying to teach you how to cope with it. However, we cannot control the miserable lives of our miserable customers. What we can do is direct them towards someone else to take out their misery on, and coddle them enough that their pencil-dick ego is not shattered as they leave the store, so they don't write a 2-page temper tantrum on how mean you are for telling them an ATI X1600 chipset is no longer available in 2019, because that actually was 2019 that it happened. You may think this level of coddling is silly, and it kind of is, but you gotta grit your teeth and do it anyway. It sucks, but it is part of the job. Next, the you broke it GTFO, for when you're blamed for something which you did not do wrong. Actually, before I get to the you broke it GTFO, I'll read some of your comments. Why are you streaming at midnight? Because I am. All right, next. The you broke it GTFO, for when you're blamed for something you did not do wrong. This is only to be used when someone believes we did something to break their device or that it is no longer working because of us when there is 0% chance that we have broken it. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that conflict is created from when we go from their expectation that it all be fixed for free to them paying full price with nothing in between. It isn't so much about them getting the job for free, it's about them thinking we don't care. And I just need to add some thems in there. It isn't so much about getting the job for free. It's about them thinking we don't care. We need to let the customer think that we care, even if we don't. The most difficult, soul-sucking part of the customer service business is having to show emotion that you do not feel when you become desensitized to a problem that you have seen or experienced thousands of times before. You will be forced to pretend that you care or find something interesting or find it surprising when in fact you have had that conversation or that accusation or that experience tens of thousands of times before. There is no way to act that way without, there's no way to be that way without losing your soul. So you bullshit. You put on an act. You fake it. We'll show you how. When you call Chase Bank customer service and they say they are so sorry about that and they understand, you know it's bullshit. Don't feel guilty. Everyone does this to stay sane when they work in customer-facing retail. We'll show you how. Now, let's go over where more experienced business owners and technicians fail and why, before we even get into how to sell this type of GTFO. One thing I've noticed over the years is that it is not the inexperienced facilities with the worst reviews. The places with the worst reviews, the tech shops that are the 1 and the 2 stars, are often the places with the most experience. This may not make sense at first glance, but there's actually a really good reason for it. It's the technicians who have seen the same problem 150,000 times that have become entirely resistant to any small talk. The experienced technician does not want to listen to all the small talk, listen to the customer describe their symptoms in a drawn-out manner, giving too much information when they already know the issue. That Dr. House-like diagnosis the experienced technician gives so quickly may seem good to you as an employee, but it is bad for the customer. They believe you weren't listening to them. They believe you didn't hear them. Above all, they believe you don't care about them. And as I said before, a customer who believes you do not care about them, you do not care at them? What the fuck? You don't care about them, will never trust you and will be your worst nightmare. We'll make that italics, because bold plus italics. The problem is, it is impossible to care about an individual you do not know when you run up against the exact same set of problems and questions every single day. So when they blame you for something that had nothing to do with us, follow this rubric. How do you even spell rubric? Follow this rubric to appear as if you care, even if you don't. Let's face it, you probably don't. The first step, look serious and in thought at the device, even if you damn well know there's nothing you can do about it. This builds trust that you care about the issue. Tell them in a serious voice you will take a look at it for them. There is a chance it may be something simple, and if it is something simple, you'll happily fix it at no charge. However, if it is a part or serious service that must be replaced, let's make this English. If it's a part that must be replaced or serious service that must be performed, we will have to charge something. Note the vocabulary, something. 1. Saying you will take a look at it appeases the part of them that believes you do not care and will not help them, while simultaneously remaining non-committal. You haven't agreed to fix anything for free. You haven't agreed to replace a screen that they cracked or fix a board under warranty that they clearly spilled shit on again. However, if it is just a piece of glass stuck somewhere, or a bad part that we installed, or an issue of workmanship, we can resolve it for free without taking blame and without arguing with the customer by utilizing this vocabulary. What the fuck? No! My window! Where'd you go? Oh, well. Anyway, use of the word something. Here we go. However, it is just a piece of glass stuck somewhere, a bad part we installed, or an issue of workmanship. We can resolve it for free without taking blame, without arguing with the customer by utilizing this vocabulary and language. Yes, I keep my porn on my desktop. It's the most convenient place so you don't lose it. Now, number 2, use of the word something eases them into the idea of paying without shocking them with a sticker price. You also do not know what is wrong yet, so throwing out price estimates does you no good. Using serious and something remains non-committal and subjective. If it is a serious issue, we have to charge something. If you give a specific price, you will make them rage. And any specific price you throw out will be bullshit because you don't know what is wrong yet. Your goal is to lessen them from raging. Not lessen them. Your goal is to lessen the raging, and most fair people are okay with just getting a technician that agrees to take a look at something without immediately rejecting it like a grumpy asshole. That's a run-on sentence, but we'll fix that later. It is best to use non-committal language that expresses you will do your best to help them, for your sake and for theirs. Do not box yourself into a corner where you are placing shit for free even though it is broken. Do not make them rage and think, even though it is not our fault that it is broken. At the same time, do not make them rage and think that we will not help them when it could damn well be something you did wrong. People very quickly get into territorial, emotional pissing contests. Lewis can't spell. Holy crap, Lewis can't spell. Emotional pissing contests because they let their emotions get the best of them before they actually see the device. If you do this, you lose. If you think it can be fixed and it isn't difficult to check, then try to do it there. No need to make someone unhappy if it isn't a big inconvenience to help them out quickly. If it is not inconvenient to do so, fix it for free even if it is not our fault. But make clear it is not our fault. Be clear. If it is not inconvenient to do so, fix it for free even if it is not our fault. But make clear it is not our fault. We look to make money off of real jobs, not nickel and dime people over basic shit. If it was our... If it was our fault, take accountability, fix it. Without responsibility, blaming yourself, as this will be held against you later. Note the difference between taking accountability and responsibility. This is a big one for later. Now this gets put in large letters because it is one of the most important things. This is one of the most important things. If we did something wrong and are more than 30% sure of it, always fix it at no cost to the customer. If there is even the slightest idea in your mind that you or we fucked it up, fix it and resolve it for free. We are not the fucking Genius Bar. If you are confident there is no fixing this simply or for free, then give them a time frame. This creates a pain point. If they want us to fix something we did not break, and they attempt to pursue this through accusation, say we are happy to look at it, but it will take some time, maybe an hour, maybe a few hours, maybe a business day or two. For most who believe we caused an issue that we did not, their lizard brain wants to be mad over their perception that we do not wish to help them. This reinforces the narrative that we are rip-off artists that allows them to justify lying to us or accusing us of things we didn't do to get a free repair. Do not feed into this narrative. By saying you are happy to look at it, you break that narrative in its tracks. Break that mold by offering to help them, and then fight their own internal desire to blame us by making a pain point of time to look at it. What you want to do is turn it around and make it about their impatience rather than our lack of desire to help them. It isn't that we do not want to help them. It is that they are too impatient to have us fix the problem. And nothing says back of the fucking queue like someone demanding a free repair for something we did not break. This is not us purposely putting them behind when we otherwise wouldn't. We are, after all, offering to look at something for free that we did not break under the idea that, not break. Which means you go into the queue with everyone else. Do keep in mind, even if they are accusatory and even if they are an asshole, if it is a simple fix, dust in a charge port, an unplugged LCD cable from them dropping the laptop, etc., fix it for free on the spot. This is only something we do if it is not easily fixable. If they call your bluff, take it in. There will be more anger in the moment if you argue the point immediately. Call them back on a Sunday night before the work week or Friday night when they are calming, ready to go out, when they are not likely to be aggravated. When they are calming, ready? What? When they are calm and ready. Fucking Google Voice to Text. If you're going to save everything I say for 6 to 8 fucking years, at the very least, can you get what I say correct? Because this is one of the things. Like, Google says that they have to save a recording of everything I've ever fucking said in order to offer good service. But you don't. Anyway, so let's just go over this part again because it may be confusing. Let's see. So here we're saying, even if they're accusing us of doing something wrong, even if they're saying you broke it or you didn't fix it properly, if we open the device, and even if it's not our fault, if it's something that's easily fixable, fuck it, save the arguing, don't deal with the back and forth, fix the problem, and then worry about that shit later. Because when the customer leaves with something that works, most of their reason to argue and be aggravated and pissed off goes away. People are unhappy when shit doesn't work. You make things work, you make them happy, and it goes away. And if it's something really small, you might as well just acknowledge it in the moment. However, if it's something difficult, and you know that you did not do it wrong, that is at the point where you say, okay, we're more than happy to look at it. Again, vague language from up above, non-committal, but give them a time frame. Make sure they know that while we're happy to fix it, you're at the back of the fucking queue because you're a new customer at this point, and there's no way I'm putting you in front of other people simply because you're being bitchy. You may get in front of other people for being bitchy if it's an easy fix, not if it's a difficult thing and you're accusing us. And again, once you are helpful like that, they're likely going to back off. Most of the time they do. But if they call your bluff, take it in. There'll be more anger in the moment if you argue the point immediately. Call them back on Sunday before the work week or Friday night when they're calm and ready to go out when they're not likely to be aggravated. And let them know the bad news. You tried the cable. You tried reseating it, etc., being whatever it is they think it was the issue, which never is. But for fuck's sake, it just doesn't work. It needs insert real, honest issue/repair for it here that it actually needs, and we just can't do that for free given that there's no sign we caused any damage. Go from there. Now, we have to add a couple of other points to this, because this is where acknowledge that it sucks. Most of the argument from here is not going to be over the fact that more has to be fixed. It will be over the fact that there is an emotional disconnect. The customer realizes that this situation sucks balls. They just had the motherboard repaired for no image a month ago. Now, they thought the no image issue was the board again and brought it back for warranty, but they have a bad screen. This sucks. Let them know that you know that it sucks. Let them know that if this were your machine, I would be livid and tossing things at the wall in the repair shop I brought it to. Let them know that they are talking. It's okay. It's okay to. It's okay to get creative and go a little far here. People are used to dealing with fuckface customer service, fuckface outsourced, that reads off a script that isn't human. Let them know that they are talking to an actual human being that understands the issue and, for fuck's sake, not like Chase Bank customer service, who tries to accomplish this by saying, "We understand and are sorry." Let them know you realize this is a BS situation and you feel bad, but there's not much you can do to change the fact. Here is where their attitude comes into play. You are allowed to give discounts for repeat customers or shitty situations. However, we do not want to reward people for being cockrags or cuntrags. Let's be gender neutral in the pronouns here, since I did say cockrag once earlier. We do. If you give a price and they scream and blame you and say you broke it, etc., stay firm. If you give a price and they are okay with it and understand, even though they are sad or mad, once leave a note. When they come to pick up, you can take off that price and discount it what you think. You know what? Paul, Steve, or Lewis sees fit. I do feel bad for when something else goes wrong and wish to reward positive behavior and good customers, even if it means we take it in the ass a little on parts or service. When something like that happens, they are edge cases. Next, when people ask for status. When someone calls asking for status, you must understand the actual question being asked. Most are not calling because they actually need to know what is going on at this precise moment. They are calling because they are anxious. Perhaps they doubt they should have sent it here. Maybe they do not believe it is actually being worked on. Maybe they believe that we do not care about their device. Do not confirm their worst suspicions. The fact that we are testing it, or figuring out which of Q713530 or U7000 is bad of the three, does not matter to them. They do not know what any of this means. They do not actually want to know in a literal fashion what we are doing. Knowing precisely where we are in the process is unimportant to them. What is important is knowing that they matter. They are not calling in because they actually give a shit as to whether it's the trace between C7050 or C7020 that's keeping it from charging. They want to know that they matter and that we aren't ignoring their device or treating them like they aren't a priority. The worst thing you can tell someone is that it is sitting in a queue, that it is not being worked on, that it is being ignored. Do not use this language. If someone brings something in for liquid damage and it is sitting in a new slot, the correct way to handle a call for status would be something like this. It looks like we're in the process of addressing the liquid damage. We should have an answer for you shortly. Liquid damage could be a nightmare. So let's hope for the best. Let's break down this sentence. Number 1, it looks like we're in the process of addressing the liquid damage. That tells them we are working on their machine. It also does not lie. If it's on my desk, that's part of the process. If it's in a new incoming slot, well, that's also part of the process. New slot. Well, it's also part of the process. Can't blame us for them jumping to conclusions there. What if the conclusion gets them off the phone so you can get back to work? That means the quicker you can fix their stuff. And everyone is happy. Okay. 2, we should have an answer for you shortly. This answers their question before it is asked. They want to know the time frame. Shortly is a great time frame. It is something that satisfies them without being specific. Remember, non-committal, which Lewis still can't spell. Non-committal. Being specific opens you up to the possibility of being owned, which we want to avoid. You said you'd call me on Wednesday and it's Friday is what we are looking to avoid. If you read reviews of amateur hour repair shops, you will see this all over their reviews. They said they'd call or be done on X, and X plus 1 came and it wasn't done. Wow. You destroy that ability with non-committal language. 3, liquid damage can be a nightmare, so let's hope for the best. This gives them something actionable to do. After giving someone an answer to their question, you will not be able to get them off the phone, or out of the store happy without giving them something to do. You have to guide and drive the conversation here. If you don't, they will, and it won't be fun. If you don't, the customer will, and it won't be fun. It will be driven by their anxiety, where every answer you give only continues the rabbit hole to hell as they become infinitely more anxious. Drive the conversation, baby. Here we are telling them to hope. It sounds silly, but driving the conversation with an actionable end gets people off the phone happy and allows you to go back to work fixing what they brought here for us to fix, not to talk to them on the phone about. We are not a fucking 900 number. You do not get paid by the minute to deal with people. You get paid to fix things. Fix things. It doesn't matter precisely how you phrase these steps. What matters is that you grasp the underlying principle. A, make sure they think it is always being worked on. B, make sure they feel as if it is being addressed. I forgot my own damn principles. Make sure they feel as if we have a time frame in mind, even if it is not a specific time frame. C, give them something actionable to think or to do rather than the other way around. If something is a nightmare job, let the customer know. We will typically put some sort of note indicating that if this is the case. Set expectations accordingly. 5-day wait time. What? What the fuck is this? Why is this randomly there? At the same time, if they have unreasonable demands, offer the non-refundable $45 rush fee to be put in front of the line. Type A personalities that have to get things done will pay. Self-important narcissistic pricks will not, and likely will either leave it anyway or come back after every other place they go to can't fix their problem as fast as we can. We are the best at this. No one else is beating our time frames unless Lewis is recovering from a concussion. Remember that impatience is natural when dealing with people whose livelihood, data, and tools are sitting, and tools for engaging with their job and the world are sitting in a shelf here. Imagine where you would be if you were in their shoes. Selling. Always give people options that include not using us if they are available. It puts people at ease that we aren't pressuring them into a decision. People know why they are here, and if they find what we offer to be of good value, they'll go ahead with it anyway. Hard sales are bullshit and never work properly. People will have, after the sale, regret and become nightmares, coming back every time the screen brightness goes on and off, calling due to ambient light sensor, claiming that we gave them a flickering screen. They will complain about every typo they make. They will blame every typo they make on our keyboard replacement job. We are not here to pressure people into spending money they do not feel comfortable spending. We are not Atlantis healthcare salesmen. If we are destined to do the work because we offer the best service at the best price, at the best level of customer support, with the best reputation, and that is what that customer values, they will come back. No hard sales. Suggesting people go elsewhere actually eases their concerns. If we were a scam operation, going elsewhere would help people realize that we were a scam operation with terrible pricing and service. Remember that significant other that hated when you would discuss your relationship with your friends? That is because the way they were treating you was fucked up, and they knew if you told your friends about it that they would advise you to stop dating this person. The same is true with repair. When you suggest people shop around, what you are telling the blink section of their brain, as Malcolm Gladwell would say, is that we are confident that we are not scamming you and that we offer a good deal. We are confident that if you see every place else, you will still think we are a good deal. Most customers know why they have come here. They did not wander in off the street. They did research, and they know why they are here. They do not need a hard sale and will likely leave it anyway. When selling liquid damage or board repair service or any other service where an estimate needs to be given, it helps build confidence if you give them an idea of what is wrong before they leave. That's not supposed to be a period, you fucking idiot. Open it and have a look. Maybe unplug the trackpad and I/O board to rule out these being bad and preventing the machine from powering up. At least at that point, you've given the customer confidence. Actually, no. We need to change that. Open it up and have a look. Refer to basic troubleshooting spreadsheet and follow basic steps there. Okay, I need to make that basic troubleshooting spreadsheet. At least at that point, you've given the customer confidence that you know what you are doing and that they will be more adept to accept, more likely to accept the quote and leave the device with you. This is actually something that the Genius Bar should have. So, for example, when it came to that CBC News piece that I was telling you about, let's find CBC News Genius Bar. This piece, right? Now, I'm a very small store. I don't see a lot in contrast to companies like CSAT or all these other places. So, when it comes to this stuff, I know very well if you have an A1398 with no backlight that it's either liquid damage, you tried to replace the screen yourself and bent pin 1. I see it all the time. This is something that should be in. And now a lot of people are saying, well, Lewis, how are they supposed to know the pin's bent? Oh, you fucking have eyes, dumbass. Well, how are they supposed to know that's a common problem? Well, you made the fucking device and you deal with millions of people every single day. So the idea is, what Steve, Paul, and the people who work here have that is not written down yet because we just haven't had the time to, but that's ingrained in all of our brains are the basic issues on all these devices, the common failures. Now, if Apple had something like this spreadsheet that I'm about to make, they would have actually been able to resolve this individual's problem without winding up on the national news as a fucking ripoff that wants to charge $2,000 to fix a computer that has a resale value of $1,300 when it has a fucking bent pin on the LCD cable. That would be there. So if no backlight, then one of these issues. If not turning on, then one of these issues. And you give the people kind of an idea of what it is before they leave the store. You can't give an exact estimate. You got to do a proper estimate by actually opening it up and testing shit, but you can give people some sort of idea. And I'm not drunk, for those who are asking. Poor Tim gets forgotten. I don't see a Tim here. I don't understand. For any service that could be deemed easy, tell people they can do it themselves. Similar to above where we suggest other places if they seem hesitant. Jim Camp's Start with No has an excellent chapter on this. Our method of applying this principle is vacation donation. Thank you very much, Leviathan. I highly appreciate that. It's very kind of you. You didn't have to do that. Our method of applying this principle is suggesting they try to do something themselves with some tips, or that they shop around. This is good reading, but if you work for Lewis, you likely don't feel like reading a book in your spare time to do your job better. Lewis is an asshole. Like an OS reinstall. Suggest to them that they can hit Apple R to reinstall the OS as it boots up and do it themselves. We can do it for $100. It lessens the likelihood of a cheapskate running out on social media saying, "Oh my God, they wanted to charge me money for service in New York City! Evil!" If you let them know you aren't trying to hide that they could do it themselves. Those who truly don't care to bother will leave it and happily pay. People will remember and argue in favor of having us perform a service if they are set on having us perform if we push them in the opposite direction first. This alleviates a lot of the douchebaggery and the one-star reviews from people who are just constantly looking for something to be outraged about. People who are constantly looking for something to be outraged about make up a good portion of New York City. Holy shit, I wrote that in 2011. It's still fucking true today. It's way more true today than ever before. A customer who wants us to perform a service because they do not feel comfortable doing it themselves, have an excess of money, do not know how to do it themselves, or do not want to learn how to do it themselves, will not walk out the door because we tell them how to do it themselves. However, it will, A, increase trust in our company, employees, and brand. B, make the douchebags who walked in with no intention other than to get their hate boner jacked off by leaving a 1-star review of our business, disappointed that their hate boner will have to be relieved another time. But seriously, there are many waiting in the woodwork who come in with no intention of doing business with us, who will ask us prices for random services. And when you tell them something above zero, when you tell them your time on this earth has value and that doing business in NYC costs money, we'll react like a screaming hyena with the quickness of the 1-star. This is how you say no, hyena. Not today. Cat treats. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Liquid damage and / or totally dead. Open the this is there's bullets where there's not supposed to be. So this looks like something I wrote on my way home on the buffet or something. Open the machine and take a look to give them an idea of what is wrong. If you open it and look at it, they will take whatever you say more seriously than the fuckface genius that gives $1,200 quotes without opening it. Typically, they want an estimate before leaving. You can usually give them an idea of what is wrong with it and the price, but if you don't look at it, they will often be more skeptical or less trusting later. Even if you have no idea what the fuck you are looking at, simply opening the bottom of it brings your credibility from 0% to 80% in their eyes. So just fucking do it. Board repair is $325 for... Oh, this is pricing. Yeah, I already have that in another spreadsheet. Board repair takes 3 to 5 days. Tell them a little sooner if simpler, a little longer for nightmare, but we'll let them go if it goes longer. This is also in another spreadsheet. This has to go in another spreadsheet. Broken screen. This whole shit has to go in another spreadsheet. What's this a live stream? Lewis is my... I'm not reading that. There's no way in hell I'm reading that. This is all actually already in another spreadsheet. Here we go. Key's not working. This is not in the other spreadsheet. Many will rage if it is just 1 or 2 keys. You can't fix the keyboard without replacing it. People will rage less if they understand how much work is involved. It's best if you grab and open one and show how the battery is glued in on the retina, how the keyboard is riveted on the air, and how many screws there ought to be removed and put back in. Remember, as I said before, people will try to take their problem and make it your problem. Turn it back into their problem. It is not my fault you bought a device held together by glue with a keyboard held in by 150 fucking rivets rather than 3 screws. Don't be pissed at me that you bought some Fuckbook Pro instead of a ThinkPad P50. That's on you. Find a kind and polite way to make it their problem by showcasing just how miserably put together their machine is. Make sure you put the focus on how the device is assembled for repair and not the device itself. Many see their MacBook as their child and do not want their child to be insulted. Little Timmy thinks differently and therefore requires a specialized grip for maximum performance, for maximum learning. Sounds better than you saying little Timmy is fucking dumb. But at the end of the day, you are saying the same thing. My 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Arlene Friedland, made my mother cry when she explained to her why I would not be able to properly integrate into society by telling the truth in the latter fashion rather than the former fashion. Don't make the customer cry because their MacBook is a piece of shit. Okay, next. Running slow ? Folder. Yeah, this shit all needs to have its own spreadsheet. This should not be in this document. Shipping. When it is our mistake, not the post office's mistake, like here, use cloned shipment. We can't reprint the label since the postage from the first label was already used. When cloning a shipment and sending it or something else, check the weight. If you bought 5 pounds worth of stuff, but is only missing a 2 to 4 ounce tube of flux, adjust the weights of the... Okay, this is boring. Selling estimates that are in the Steve status. Oh, God, this is going to be terrible. Steve's status is where all the trash goes. So Paul's status is where all the motherboards that nobody else wants to work on because they're fucked goes. And Steve's status is where all the customers that nobody wants to talk to because they're cunts go. So let's go over that. It's always better to sell an estimate over the phone than it is over email. If someone is surprised by something or has the wrong idea about something, you can hear their reaction and work with it in real time. If someone thinks it's going to be 50 but it's 150 and you email them, you have no opportunity to explain the situation before they become agitated. Whereas on the phone, there's every opportunity to listen and to deal with their concerns before they have a chance to become agitated. Approval rate for estimates will typically be higher when delivered over the phone. Many modern repair shops get run by technicians, erections over automation and digitizing everything. And forget about the fact that this job is 10% fixing tech, 90% people and relationships. Giving a quote over email or through an automated SMS system is a terrible way to do it. Any misconceptions, any surprises, any misunderstandings, you cannot reply to until they have already worked themselves up about it. You want the ability to address concerns before the customer has had the time to work themselves up about it. You minimize douchiness and customer interaction by having the maximum amount of customer interaction be in real time. Do not be lazy. Pick up the fucking phone. Be a human. Thank you, Chuck Keyworth. News that we cannot fix something has to be delivered with some kind of compassion. There is no way you can long-term have compassion for thousands of people you have never met over machines that have no relevance to you. So this will most likely have to be faked. Unfortunately, it appears that your board can't be fixed. It's beyond repair. I'm so sorry. Practice saying this as if you care, because even if you care the first 5 to 50 times, you won't after a while. You really won't. It has to be acted. It has to be faked. You will lose your mind if you actually care for, if you actually try to care for thousands upon thousands of people with problems you cannot fix. You can't do it. Your brain is not capable of managing more than 30 to 50 serious relationships. You will actually lose your mind if you do not fake it. So fake it. At some point, your girlfriend probably has with you. Ask her for advice on how to do this with the customer. No, not really. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep that out. I'm sorry. I mean, we tried. Unfortunately, it appears that your board can't be fixed. It's beyond repair. We tried different power circuit, we tried different logic circuit, we checked over every single trace, but I'm sorry, it just looks like that we're not able to fix it. Now, we're not able to fix it, so I'm not going to charge you, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's anything I can do. Do I give a fuck about you? No, I don't fucking know you. You're not worth me changing my vocal intonation. It's a job. It's a fucking job. And you signed up for a job where you deal with the public. As a result, you have to deal with the public. And the people who are coming to you expect that you know how to deal with the public. They expect you to care for some strange, silly, crazy reason. They care that you have emotions and act like a human. Even though having those emotions for that many people, for thousands and thousands of people, will actually destroy your brain. So fake it. If I can fake it, then so can you. All right. That marks the end of our document. Now we move on to the repairs for the different devices, and I'm going to have to make a new version of this sheet that includes all the common issues with all the different devices. So here we have pricing and what it is you can set, the different possibilities in pricing. This is not a troubleshooting guide, it's simply the different pricing. And this is, obviously, repair shops don't have to follow what I do. You're welcome to do whatever you want. This is simply something that I find to be simple for me. So for the A1237 and A1304 MacBook Air from 2008 and 2009, battery dying, GTFO. Question mark folder, GTFO, data only. Random turning off or kernel panic, GTFO. Graphics glitching, GTFO. Overheating, GTFO. Machine dead, GTFO. Not charging, GTFO. No backlight, GTFO. Trackpad issue, GTFO. Keyboard issue, GTFO. Screen issue, GTFO. Data recovery, 2 to 900 depending on difficulty. Liquid damage, GTFO, data only. And you can tell I don't like the original layer. Let's just take a random one. A1398 2015-16 Retina. Battery dying, 1 to 99 plus tax, 1 to 2 business days. Folder or hard drive, replace drive, 3 to 650 depending on size wanted. Random turning off or kernel panic, GTFO. Graphics glitching, GTFO. Overheating, compressed air in the bottom for free. Kind people will tip, douchebags will not, but we don't charge for this. Full internal cleaning, $50 a new thermal paste. Most people just need A. Not charging. If the machine dead, blah, blah, blah. Here you have all the list of everything here. I'm yawning, so it's time for me to be done. So I'm going to type up more to this guide, and I'm going to share it. Now, this may change as a result of me being honest. This probably will. There are people watching this that will probably fuck with me just because that's the way the internet works and make a bunch of anonymous accounts to leave shit reviews saying this is, referring to this guide. However, if you look us up on the internet, I am a very socially awkward person. I cannot stand people. I'm not a fan of people. I don't get along with people. I don't like talking to people. It's just not something, it's not me. And you'll see that we have 4.8 stars on Google, 320 reviews. Let's see. Let's see what my other businesses, other business in the area look like. So Laptop MD is the place that I used to work before quitting 4 days in because they sucked. They've been in business way longer than me. They have 4.6 reviews. If you look at, let's see, Dr. Brendan, 4.4 reviews. And let's see how Sonny's doing. How's Simple Mac doing? Simple Mac? Okay, Simple Mac. Sonny used to work for me. Sonny worked for me and he took my class. So fucking course he's going to have 4.8 review stars. Of course Sonny's going to be 4.8 stars. Fucking better be. And if you look us up on Yelp, 4.5 stars. You look up the other places. Let's see. How are the other places in the area doing? Dr. Brendan, 4.5. Okay, so everybody's 4.5 on Yelp. But I can fix, You Break, I Fix, 3 stars. That's normal. You Break, I Fix is a franchise. You can't expect any good service from a fucking franchise. How are we doing here? Good old Laptop MD is... They're not even on Yelp anymore? I wonder if they got deleted. Yes. How long can you pay your customers for reviews before you get kicked off of a fucking website? Oh, no. Fuck off. Fuck off. Stop. Stop. I'd be interested in seeing if Laptop MD got kicked off Yelp. It served them right. But, no, they're not. Yeah, 4 stars. So, we are not doing that bad. You may think that this guide is ridiculous, but what this guide has done, it's allowed somebody who is running a Ponzi scheme on their time to still keep really high-level customer service ratings. I have not been able to find a place that has better customer service ratings on average than we do. And keep in mind, these other businesses, they're being run by people that are sociable. They're being run by individuals who get along with people, who like people, who actually have friends, who have a life. This business is being run by somebody who hates people, who is socially strange and doesn't get along with people at all. And I'm also running a Ponzi scheme on my time where I'm trying to do a lot of different things. So I don't have the most time to give to each customer the same way a business that is not trying to change the law, to teach people how to fix their own stuff, to learn how to do all these new things does. So this guide, there's some points in this guide that I think will help people who have just started their own repair business along. This probably could be applied to other industries. There's a lot of stuff that I need to add to this. There's a lot that I have to add in order for these experiences to make sense, because I'd like to be able to just put a new customer service person in front of this shit and them never have to talk to me. There have to be no one-on-one training. And that's going to be a while. And one of the things I talked about in that podcast I did with Destiny and Dan, they have something called the Startups Podcast, is when they were asking, why don't you franchise? Why don't you take a loan? Part of it is that nobody was willing to fucking give me a loan. But one of the reasons to not scale is, in order to scale, you have to have all your processes written down. I rely on one-on-one training and mentoring, and also on hiring really smart people. And I don't think there's any way to franchise hiring really smart people in a world full of idiots. You have to in order to be a large business, in order to scale, you have to take every single position and you have to write a manual, a flow chart, and how to handle every specific thing that will come up in that position. And that's something that I'm very bad at doing. Maybe I'm simply not good at it. maybe I'm a lazy bum, and my form of laziness is not that I sit on my ass all day, but rather that I fix boards, which I find fun and interesting, rather than write guides, manuals, and flowcharts, which is what good business people do, which I find boring. Maybe that's my own personal laziness, is that I would rather fix boards, I'd rather find out new issues, I'd rather explore new things than sit down and write a fucking flowchart and to teach some 18-year-old how to do something that I already know how to do at my company. Maybe it's just that I'm lazy. That could be my own form of laziness. And laziness and greed comes in many different forms. It's not just a sloth that sits down all day. You can work 16 hours a day and actually get shit done and still be lazy, because you could be doing that 16 hours of work to avoid doing the work that you actually should be doing, which is writing manuals like this so that you could hire people rather than have to mentor an individual. So that's it for today. Hopefully you learned something, and Sonia requested a copy of the guide, but the thing is I'd have to have your email address so that I could share this with you. I'd love to share it with you, but I don't think if you put your email in chat, good things will come of it. So we'll have to come up with a way that you can contact me, since YouTube got rid of their messaging system. Because YouTube is such a great platform that cares about creators and understands communication, they destroy the only way that you have to message me where I know that it's you and not somebody else contacting me. Good job, Google. All right, that being said, I'll see you in the next one.